All right. Hi there. Welcome to the RAMS Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeat and referral closings by implementing the Referral Agent Mastery System into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, a co-founder of RAMS Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of RAMS Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing great. How are you guys? Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
fantastic. All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and hop in. Again, thanks for being here today for our production call. We got an announcement we'll start off with real quick. I'm going to be doing a presentation tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got the one-page business plan presentation. That'll be Wednesday, December 17th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That'll be on ramszoom.com. So we'll go ahead and get that going. Be sure to invite anybody you'd like to have come over and check it out. Be sure that you make it if you'd like to see what's going on. We'll go through the plan. We'll have a template that you can download so you can put your own numbers in and maybe put together your plan for 2026 in one page. Again, the goal is to have all your numbers on one page that you can reference real quick, have some affirmations on the back to help you get focused. This is the exact plan that I used when I got my mind right, and I built my business up to 113 closings in 1 year. So I'm a believer in this plan and this format, and if you would like to check it out, you're welcome to join us. All right, so that's again going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, December 17th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and you can join us at ramszoom.com. All right, let's get into some good news. I'm going to go ahead and actually start here real quick, just as a little bit of a reminder. Had some good news yesterday. Had a gentleman call me back that I've been following up with for a listing. This is in my new project. And I looked back at it. I actually spoke with this person originally 2 months ago, about 60 days ago. And he had shown some interest. And so I just started providing resources and information and trying to help him get some clarity on what they need to do and some steps. It's a gentleman that owns a piece of property in my state, but he's out of state. And so I'm giving him a lot of information and basically just contacting him about once a week. And I was making phone calls, also sending emails with information, also wrote a letter, also sent several of these little postcards. I think these are really powerful. I just send a little note to them. I've done that to a couple people now, and it's kind of funny. After they get that note, they seem to be a lot friendlier. So in the calls and the conversations. So I really think there's a little power there. But the big picture is that follow-up works. So yesterday, he called me. I've been calling him this whole time. He called me yesterday and said, "Hey, we got this issue ironed out after I got the information you gave me last week. Thank you for their recommendation and reference. And they needed some help getting a deed issue taken care of so they could move forward. So they got that done. And so now they want me to put together a proposal for a listing. So, and send it off to them. And so that I just want you to know that follow-up works, and it's the key to making this thing a success. I'm sure you all know that, but just a little example. Do you guys have examples of follow-up that worked for you?
I had a question. You said it was a SP lead in your report. I was curious what that means.
Yeah, that's my special project. SP is my special project, which I may announce to the world at some point. So this is being recorded. It'll go out publicly. But basically, it's a group of sellers that I've identified that I think has a high propensity to sell. In fact, I know they have a high propensity to sell. I've been working in this area I looked back, it's about 90 days, a little over 90 days that I've been toying with this group. And at this point, I just had the guy yesterday contact me saying, hey, give me a listing proposal. I got another group of people. I could have listed the property last week. I'm just taking my time with them because I need them to iron out a couple things first. And but I'm talking to them off and on. I got a third guy who's a very hot lead. He needs to evict somebody first before he can sell the property. And just talked to him last week. That got derailed or pushed back a little bit. But I mean, he and I are getting tighter and tighter. All these people we're connecting tighter and tighter with. For instance, I give you a quick example. I called this third guy, and the guy needs to do an eviction. And I've been trying to offer him resources. I've got him set up with a mover, right? Some muscle for when this eviction happens, because they got to take all the stuff out of the house, as an example. So I'm providing resources, but I'm also connecting on a personal level. For instance, I know this guy just went hunting with his son, and it's a really important way for him to reconnect with his son once a year. So I asked him, how did that go? Did you get any, did you have any success in the hunt? And he said, no. And he said, but how about your connection with your son? He said, yeah, that was fabulous. So, you know, all these little connections. Learning his personality, loves to cuss. Doesn't bother me at all. I love talking to people that are passionate. So it worked great. So all these little connections you get with people when you're doing the follow-up beyond just the real estate side. So thanks for asking the question, and that's what that is. It's this group that I'm, the SP is a special project group, high propensity to sell. My gosh, in fact, that's my biggest challenge with this group is I'm getting to them late. By the time I find about a third of the people, by the time I find out about them, they're already listed or sold. And then as I'm working through and I'm actually making my phone calls, I don't know if it's quite a third, but it's pretty close. Maybe 20 to 30% are telling me they've already listed or sold, even though I didn't see it. So they're doing like private sales. So there's a lot of activity in this area and a lot of opportunity. And I love when you can have a little pond and everybody in the pond is doing something. It's kind of like expireds, right? You know, expireds are a high probability of relisting. That's kind of the way this group is. If these are not expireds, but it's the way this group is. And as I keep working this out, as I said, maybe I'll share it with the public later on. I know I'm teasing everybody, but I guess the other lesson, if there is another lesson, is try to find a market that has a lot of people doing what you want to do, right? Increase your odds of success. All right, and by the way, this is outside of our main topic, which is repeated referrals. Repeated referrals is got to be the core of your business. I always want to keep stressing that. But if it's not generating enough business, because right now a lot of people are frozen because of the dynamics in the market, then you got to find another source of business to help fill the gaps. And that's what I'm talking about with these SP leads, right? I do have a current listing. And I'm talking a lot about myself today. I do have a current listing from my sphere and a little condo listing, and it needs quite a bit of work. And we're trying to sell it that way. And so I'm getting a lot of interest from investors. In fact, I just looked, we've received 8 offers from 8 different investors. Just all of them are all low balls and they just can't quite work. We just can't come to terms. Just received another one yesterday. So we're trying. We're trying. In that situation, I'm looking for a sweat equity buyer because my belief is they'll pay a little bit more than an investor. Somebody wants to move into the property. They can build some equity by doing some of the improvements. We've priced the property under market, so they have an opportunity to get in there and make some sweat equity, but I haven't found the right buyer yet. So, but that lead came from my sphere. So your past clients in sphere are definitely the #1 place you want to reach out to. All right. Oh, I know what I was asking if anybody had any examples of follow-up story. Do you have a story that you did some follow-up over a period of time and it worked out well for you, or even currently, and you feel like you're getting closer because you're doing your follow-up? And if so, what kind of follow-up are you doing?
I have three people that I've been following up with through my PCSOI. One is a past client, and two of them are new clients that I've never done business with before, but I personally know. And all three of them came to my summer kickoff party and to Pi Day. And at each of those events, they've mentioned to me updates with um, how things are going with two are going to be listings and one is going to be a purchase or a build or something like that. So um yeah, so just consistently following up and staying in touch with them. It's worked out really well.
Tell us more about that, Angela. What are you doing to just pick one of them in your mind, and what are you doing to stay in touch with them? Are you calling them? Are you texting them, emailing them? You invited them to the event, so that was one of the things I heard. What else are you doing to stay in touch with them? And I apologize if you've already said it, but I'm
Mhm.
just trying to understand.
Yeah, so I sometimes I send out a magazine. I break it down into different groups so they don't always get a magazine all the time, but they have all gotten a magazine at some point. Calling, texting, email, inviting to events. And actually, when I sent out the pie invitation, one of them called me and gave me an update and said, I know that we're still like a year away, but this spring I'm going to be working on the house and getting it ready. Can you come out to the house then? And I was like, sure, of course, and then we talked about what I can help him with as far as finding contractors, walking through the house, giving him recommendations and things like that. So um, just all the way around staying in touch. And I'm not always the best at it with my leads, and I do feel like I could do a better job. I, I would, the PCSOI to me is a lot easier because I do the events and the magazine and handwritten cards and things like that. But I could definitely do a better job with my leads.
That's always a good admission, by the way. We all want to improve and strive for excellence. Um, on follow-up, I just want to, we'll just talk about follow-up for a few minutes here because it's so important and we don't actually, most people don't talk about it that often. Um, so the way I try to structure my business to make, because I've actually been a poor follow-upper over the years. Think about that. I've been a poor follow-upper, and yet I still had an amazing couple of years there. Um, how did that happen? It's because I built a system structurally that would take care of the follow-up for me if I messed up. Okay, so kind of think about that. So I created a plan so that even if I don't do my one-on-one reach outs for my follow-up, like I just explained with the gentleman out of my state, California, if I don't do my follow-ups properly, it will do the follow-ups for me, at least at a base level. So in the past, I did a lot of direct mail. And so what I created was a system where I was fishing in a pond for business, and I would mail to that pond at least once a month, often more than that. So that's kind of my backup follow-up program for anybody that contacted me out of the pond. And I'm doing that now with this current group. Okay, so I've got a group of people, it's a smaller group, and I'm mailing to them consistently every 21 days. I'm sending them out something by mail. So they're getting something to keep my face in front of them just generically. You're doing it with your events, Angela, with your sphere. So this was non-sphere. This was a whole group of people that don't know me. You're doing it with your sphere where you're staying in touch with them. And that's really smart. Structurally, you're doing events every so often and mail outs or calls. And that's kind of like systematically touching everybody. And that's got to be your base. And if you create just that, you're going to be in great shape. Like I know Tristan has talked about, he's built out his email newsletter he sends out once a month. And that's touching his leads that he's meeting from outside the sphere. And I believe it's his sphere too. So these are kind of systematic things that are going to happen where you're kind of blasting out one to many. On top of that, what you want to do is you want to have a follow-up for when people get hot, right? They raise their hand and they say, yeah, I'm thinking about moving. Like Angela, I think you just said you met 3 people at your last event that kind of said, yeah, I'm ready to move here in the next couple months. Those people we got to move up in the list and contact more frequently, right? More often and more one-on-one, more personally. So handwritten note, phone call, a text, an email, something where we can stay in front of them at a higher level, because we don't want them to slip through after we did so much work to find them and get them identified. And so those are the kind of things that I'm trying to bring up at this point is, what are you doing to identify your hot people? Once you've identified them, what are you doing to stay in front of them and stay in connection with them? For instance, what I'm doing is I've been doing a lot of tracking, I try to create systems. So I've been trying to create a system, and I've been using my Google Contacts. I'm just feeling like that's a great place for me to do it, because I like to know when people call me and I can see their number pop up on my phone. I just like that. I am not the best at answering the phone. I haven't be, I never have been great at it, and then I've become even worse as I kind of went into semi-retirement. So I don't like to answer all the phones. I don't know if everybody else is like that. So what I do, I like to see that one of my leads is calling me. I like to see that one of the people in my pond, this little pond that I've been working, they're calling. Well, I want to get right on those. And so what I've basically been doing is creating a system that puts all these people into my Google Contacts. And so then when it pops up on my phone, their name is there, rather than just an unknown phone number. And so I've been working inside that Google Contacts, and it's a limited program. It's not a very good CRM, but it does have some ability, and it has a 1-level tagging system. So I've tagged these people as a hot buyer or a hot seller. And so therefore, once a week, I can just go through and just click on that and say, okay, these are my hot leads, my hot buyer, hot seller leads. Who in this list do I need to contact this week and stay in front of? So I just gave you a long-winded answer to get to the very most important part, which was right at the end. I've got a way to click on it and see a list of my people that are hot leads. So I say, well, who should I contact this? Do I need to reach out to these people this week? What should I reach out to them with? This personal contact. What could I offer them? What do I know about them that I could offer them that would move them a step forward in the process based on what they told me before? Like I gave you the example of the guy with the mover. I didn't think of that right away when I was talking to him. He was telling me his problem, and I said, oh, okay. And I hung up. And then I followed up later the next week, say, hey, do you have an attorney to help you with the eviction? I forgot to ask. And he's like, oh yeah, I do. And I'm like, oh good, could you give me and I asked for him to give me the referral for it. And I said, hey, the next week I thought, well, you're doing this eviction. Do you have someone to help you move the stuff out to the street? And he's like, no, I don't even know I have to do that. Well, here we go. So then I gave him a recommend. See how you're just kind of building it. And the best way that I found to do this is to offer a service, offer service and things of value, all these things, these platitudes, all these big words that don't make a lot of sense. So that's why I'm trying to give examples. Help them achieve their goal in their personal goal, their personal steps. Like that was one guy. Another guy just had a deed problem. So I had to help him get an attorney to resolve a deed problem, an ownership problem. So these are all little and now his next issue is getting stuff out of a property that's vacant. He needs to clear it out. And so I'm talking to him about that. And I just sent him resources yesterday. I emailed him resources. So some people that I know that could help him do that. Does that make sense what I'm talking about with this follow-up and how you need to identify? Let me give you one final thing. There are a lot of top agents I've talked to and or heard that they're just old-fashioned. They'll just keep a little piece of paper and they'll write the names of their best leads. Or maybe they'll have a little notebook Some of them will have it on their phone on maybe just little text notes, but a lot of them are just paper, and they'll just have one sheet of paper where they every week they put their top whoever they've got to follow up with, and that's how they're tracking who's the most important lead. And they're going to make sure they make a call or a text or an email or something to those people. And as your business grows, that list will grow. And that's why you want to create qualifications for getting on that list. Way back in the old days, 30 years ago, you listen to Mike Ferry, and he used to say you'd find out the strength of your business by how long the time was on that list. So like in the beginning, you're like anybody who might buy or sell. That's who you're going to put on the list. And then as you get more and more leads, you talk to more and more people, you qualify, your list gets too long, you have to start shrinking it. So it goes from any time frame at all in the future to 6 months out, to 4 months out, to 3 months out, to a month out. And he said, if your business is really cranking, you're like a week out. You won't talk to anybody who's not going to move today, right? And that was like a mind blower, and everybody argued with him. That's insane. What do you mean you wouldn't talk to anybody who's over a week old? Why would you not do that? And he was trying to make the point that you got to shrink your list to the immediate. These are your hottest leads. You got to deal with them first, and then go ahead and backfill with whoever else you need. Anyway, is any of this helpful on follow-up? Who else has a story or would like to add anything to what we just talked about?
Yeah, when you were saying, is this helpful? Absolutely, it is. I'm like you, Mike. I'm not a great follow-upper, even though sometimes I am. I know it's a critical part of my business. So in some cases I am, and I have done that in my previous career as well. It's just part of selling. But I'm just reminded how critical this is with you and with Angela talking about her systems, and there's many ways to do it, but I think the sphere is easier. It definitely is, but I think this following up with prospects that really don't know you or you're trying to get to know them. I think that's where my challenge is being relevant, bringing value to them on a regular basis, because that's the only reason I should be following up with them, is if I'm bringing value to them, is the way I see it. And that can be even a note of, market update, of course, could always be that way. Not, hey, are you ready to sell? Or if there was some particular project they were working on, oh, I'm working on the front door where we're repainting some rooms. I can always ask about those things, of course, but I think any other thoughts or ideas here are very good. I've been taking some notes.
You got it, Blake, and your background shows you the power of the follow-up and why you need to do it. Thank you for admitting that you have challenges with follow-up like the rest of us. I'm trying to think if I've ever talked to anybody who said, yeah, I'm the perfect follow-upper. But there's definitely a scale, and the people that do the most follow up the most, right? Everybody knows that's where the money is. And just think the opposite. When you lose a deal, why? Why did you lose the deal? It's usually because you didn't follow up. You assumed that they would call you, and they didn't, and et cetera. Here's the power of the follow-up is this guy that just called me yesterday. I had to keep following up with him. I had to build the relationship, but I built it to the point where within 60 days, he's calling me to say, hey, thank you. We now have gotten things accomplished that we needed to do, and we're ready for the next step. Can you please send us a proposal? He wants me to send him a listing proposal so he can chat with his family over the Christmas holiday. Say, great, happy to do it. That's the other thing. You go at their timeline, you're figuring out their timeline, you're moving at their timeline. So the one size fits all, that's kind of at the bottom where you're reaching out to everybody in the group. And then once it goes to the top, now it becomes very personalized. And so based on what you were just mentioning, Blake, I think it might be helpful for us to kind of brainstorm some ideas of what would happen in this personal follow-up, right? Well, what do you do? How do you add value? It's easy to say, hey, add value. I used to hate, by the way, when I hear that from people, because I'm like, well, what does that mean? Give me more specifics. I don't know what that means. So let's try to get into some of those details of what do we mean by adding value. And again,
When I say add value, what I am saying is that my contact needs to bring something that brings something to the person I'm contacting that is of value to them. And that value can be a lot of things. It could be that I'm bringing information to them. It could be that I'm bringing a encouragement to them. Um, I guess it could be that I'm bringing a resource to them, which might be category as information, but a resource. Hey, you said you needed a plumber. Well, here's the plumber. I think those are three things that would come to mind right away. A resource, some sort of an encouragement that might, particularly the more personalized it is to their situation, the better. And then information, which is probably the easiest one to keep providing, is information. And again, even in my past career, I think information was the thing I would most bring to the table. But yeah, I get the add value thing is that is a lingo, a term that probably over the past decade has become a real big term that is so loosely used that sometimes we don't even know what we're talking about.
it's a correct statement, but it's frustrating because it's not specific.
Yeah.
So let's work on the specifics. And you mentioned a lot of good ones there. The one that's been very helpful for me lately is resources. I call it resources, or recommendations is another way to think about it. Referrals would be another way to think about it.
hmm
I try to think of what people can help this person achieve their goal. What other people, other than me, because I can't do everything. What other people can help these people achieve their goal? So I'll give you another example. I was talking to a guy, um, and he's got this house that's now vacant. He's trying to decide whether he's going to sell it, rent it, or move into it. He's got a house. He lives in another house. He's got this one house he's trying to decide if this second house is a house that he should sell or rent, or move into it. So um, in his case, he was really leaning towards moving into it because he's in a house that has stairs. He's older and he wants to get rid of the stairs, and this other house doesn't have any stairs. It's one level. So he's thinking about moving into the one level house, but it's very dated and it needs a lot of updating and improvements. I said, it sounds like you'd like to remodel that house. Would you remodel it? I asked questions. Sounds like you would like to remodel that before you move in. Is that true? And he said, yes. I said, would it be helpful to get bids on how much that would cost so you'd know how much it would cost to move into this property? And he said, yeah, but I'm not ready for that yet. I said, okay, great. Well, when you're ready, I have a recommendation for a general contractor that can go in and get you a bid for fixing the property up. You let me know when you're ready. See, I'm just planting seeds, right? I'm just letting him know. Now, think about this. I want to sell that property. Why would I tell him about how to move into the property and I don't get a sale? See, I got to get out of being self-centered and greedy for me, and I got to get into how can I help this person achieve their goal? If I help them achieve their goal, they win, they like me, and they may use me now, or they may use me in the future, or they may refer me, or they may forget about me. But at least I have a higher probability of winning, right? And I just like to help people. So it all kind of plays out. So if you can just get out of your own head and get into their head of what are they trying to do and what can I refer them to, it'll work great. I'll give you a second example. I talked to another, these are all in this little pool. I talked to another gal, a younger gal, and she has a property that's a rental property. And she was trying to decide, she had just received this rental property and gotten into this situation. And she's trying to decide what to do with it. And I said, well, are you thinking about selling it? She said, no, I'm thinking about keeping it and renting it out. I said, great. Do you have a property manager to help you with that? And she said, and I don't do property management. Okay, let's just get that clear. I don't do property management for other people. I said, do you have a property manager to help you with that? And she said, no. And I said, would you like a recommendation for a great property manager? She said, yes, absolutely. And I said, wonderful. What's your email address? And she's like, here, let me give you my email address. And she's like, you know how you usually have to pull things out of people? She's like wanting it so bad. She's like, here, send it over to me right away. And I did. And I emailed it to her and she emailed back and said, thank you. Right? She's not going to sell right away, but I just helped her move forward. So these are like resources, concepts you can help people with. The other thing I'll throw out is you can offer a list of resources. So sometimes you say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. Okay, that's nice in general and it's true, but it's not clicking for people. And so you can offer a list. Instead of saying that, say, okay, well, it sounds like you're thinking about maybe selling this property. You probably need some resources. Do you need a plumber? Do you need somebody to help? Are there any plumbing issues going on? Do you need a furnace guy, or do you need an AC gal? Do you need somebody to help with that? Do you have any issues with the roof? Does the roof need to be fixed? You just start throwing stuff out. Okay. Do you need somebody to come in and help you organize any of the items in the property? I got an organizer. What do you need? Start throwing ideas out. Another one is a locksmith. Do you need to change any of the locks of your house? I've used that a couple times now. You wouldn't be surprised. People go, yeah, I need the name of the locksmith. Like, great. Let me get you the name of the locksmith. The mover. I found this great mover who's really inexpensive. I've already referred him out like 5 times. And I just met him like 30 days ago. Does that make sense? You're just trying to throw things out. You might just throw them out generically. You don't even know what they need. Or you might, and I think that's very powerful. And then the other one is just active listening, hearing what they're saying and seeing how can I connect this person to help them get to wherever it is they want to go, whether it has to do with me or not. I think that's the key to making this work really well in your head, and for it to come across right, and for people to connect and go, oh, that guy was really nice. He really helped me with XYZ and didn't have to.
For buyers, I did a buyer seminar, and one of our sponsors was a credit repair company. And it's really cool because they offer a do-it-yourself, like how to do it yourself on their website. And of course, they're going to want to talk to them and everything, but that's a great resource. So that came to mind. I've given it to a couple of people, but something that pretty much any buyer would want to know about.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Do it yourself, DIY. A lot of people like to do that, and removing yourself from it. Think, why would you tell somebody to work without you? That's what you do when you go talk to a for sale by owner, right? They don't want to use you. And one of the best, most successful approaches is, here are all the resources you need to do it yourself. Yeah, I'll connect you with all of it. Here, in the old days, they'd get sent out a package of here's the contract that you would need if you find the buyer. You just give them a list of resources and show them that you want to help them achieve their goal, whether their goal is to do it with you or without you. Right? Who would do that? You know who would do that? A friend. Be their friend. I guess we could have summarized the whole thing right there. I got to remember to start with that one.
You nailed it right there. Be their friend. That's great.
Yeah, that's what we would do as a friend, wouldn't we, Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sure makes the whole objective of the career path and the job, the work, feel like something that's a lot easier and a lot it kind of simplifies the whole thing. It does. It simplifies everything. Just be a friend who has some resources.
And doesn't it make you feel better? Who doesn't want to be a friend? Makes me feel better to be a friend. Right? All right, cool. All right, so anybody have anything else you'd like to add to our topic today of follow-up?
I just wanted to say thanks for everyone sharing their insights. It's really important following up, and I think sometimes we forget it, especially me specifically. I'm sometimes focused so much on prospecting and not enough on nurturing, not so much on nurturing. And I think taking this approach of the friend is a really good mindset to have, because even yesterday I was reflecting on a client that I met from door knocking, and I think we've grown into a friendship in the sense of like they're just checking in to see how my kid is doing and just letting me know they're settling in nicely into their house and stuff. So I think it's a good frame that I'm going to take when I need to follow up with some of these potential leads today, to just check in as a friend instead of Tristan Scott, the realtor, when are you selling or when are you buying? So I just wanted to say thanks, everyone.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the challenge of real estate, right? We're wearing so many different hats and different roles. I guess your personality profile probably helps. Um, Maybe that's why I's have such a great ability in sales, is they're able to wear a lot of different hats and do a lot of different things simultaneously, where a C is really going to have a challenge with some of this, because they want to go one direction and have everything very clearly delineated and defined. Whereas what we're talking about is there's so much personality and connection and emotional connection in these relationships. It's not just hardcore black and white business. Although you can do your business that way. I did it that way for a long time, with just sprinkling in the personality. Um, all right, everybody, good job with follow-up. And let's do this. Let me open up. Do we have any burning questions from anybody that you would like us to address while we have the mastermind together? Any topic, any issue. All right, good. Let's do this. Let's switch gears then. If you do have one, let me know. Again, write them down, bring them to this session if you'd like us to address it. How about this? We've got events. Anybody doing an event in December or January? Since we do like a lot of event marketing. Oh, okay. Whoops. Good. So if you have an event and you think about it and you'd like to talk about the group, let me know. We did a lot of good events in November. And I think just remember the power of events, power of reach outs. A good thing to do this time of year is you're making your business plan for the upcoming year. And part of that business plan, let me just get a concept in your head. You want to front load your marketing. Front load your marketing for the year. And what I mean by that is most of our markets, the most business is happening in the first half of the year. Not that the business isn't happening all the time, but it does have more volume in the first half of the year. The spring tends to be the busiest time, and real estate is usually 90 days out, 60, 90, 120 days out from when you start. to when something happens. And so if you want to have a great spring in March and April, when all the volume is hitting, you need to start talking to your people now, because we're now sitting 90, 120 days away from there. So don't wait until April to be reaching out to your people. They're already going to have done something. Maybe you catch them at the last minute, but they may have already called somebody else and you're done, right? Because you weren't staying in front of them. So now is the time to front load your marketing. If you told me, hey, Mike, I got $10 to spend on marketing, when should I spend it? I'd be like, January, February, March. Get that money out there early. Well, are you saying that just because we're coming up on the new year? No, I would have told you that in June. I mean, this is the time to be pumping in all the excitement in your market. Do your reach outs, do your mail outs, do your events, do things to get in front of people over the next 90 days. So when they think real estate, which they are, they're going to all be doing the New Year's celebration soon, right? They're going to be thinking of, and then then they'll move into the spring field coming out of winter. That's what they're going to be going through over the next 90 days. They're going to be thinking about, if they have a move on their horizon, that's when it's going to come out. They're going to say, this is the year to move. This is the time to do it. This is why, this is what we got to do. Be in front of those people. Be in front of your people, in that not only if they're thinking about moving, but the people they talk to who are thinking about moving. You want to be top of mind. You want to be the one they refer. All right. Well, good. So we're going to be doing the one-page business plan tomorrow. And I also mentioned for everybody that you could get on my calendar to do a session to get ready for your new year planning. And I noticed that many of you did that. Thank you so much. Look forward to chatting with you when we do it. Tristan, we did our session. I think it went well. Have you written up your one-page business plan? And if you have, be sure to send that over to me so we can take a look at it and help you iron it out.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. I put together maybe my second draft now, but I am still realizing I need to make some adjustments to my daily schedule. But it's not done yet, but I'm still working on it for sure.
That's a very powerful statement you just made. I hope everybody picked up on that. Tristan has written out his goals for next year, for 2026. He's reduced his goals to the daily activity he needs to do each day, each minute, each day. What does he have to do each day so that that big picture goal actually occurs? It actually comes into reality. That's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
It's that simple. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's clarity.
I did think of an event that I'm actually going to do that I thought I'd bring up. But I haven't fleshed it out yet. But I do want to do one of these. What Angela's done in the past with the counting, guess the number of candy canes or Hershey's Kisses. I haven't decided which one I'm going to do, but I am curious if you think I need to get in front of Christmas with that. Angela, you've had some experience with it, or do I do it more, maybe where I stand out more after Christmas, before New Year's or something like that?
Yeah, I think that that's a really fun thing that you can do any time of the year. And if you're going to do it before New Year's, you could, whatever the prize would be, could be something New Year's related, or you could count, trying to think of what you could count, but
Jelly beans in the jar.
yeah, I mean, it's easier around a holiday because like jelly beans, you would think of Easter. Candy canes, you would think of Christmas, but I would just go into Chat GPT and say, what kind of things could I count in a jar and around this time of year and see
That's a
if
good
it has
idea.
ideas. But
I probably can get and it's not like I can't get this done. I'm looking at the calendar and thinking, oh, I'm running out of time. But I guess I could do it early next week and it would be fine.
mhm. Yeah, right. Because yeah, people are going to be taking off a lot next week and they might be on social media a little more. They're not going to be on social media as much, probably Christmas Eve and Christmas Day to do something like that. But the early next week and like the one that I did for Halloween this year, I literally did it all in pretty much a day
Okay.
because it was last minute. I had wanted to start it early, but I ran out of time. I recorded the video, posted it in the same day, and had the like drawing like a day or two later. So,
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. So I'll talk with my wife about whether we're going to do candy canes or kisses. Look at that.
I was like, well, let's just look for candy canes in a jar, right? And that's what I typed into Amazon, and this is what I got. $25. You get this giant container of candy canes. They're little ones, and now you've got your count program, right? I don't know if it
Yeah.
says the count. Does it say count on it? It says calories. Oh, I guess it has the count. I'll turn it around maybe and just show the back of it and have them guess. But there's your idea for how many candy canes in one of these things. They're the little ones. It's seasonal. Uh,
Yeah, that's good.
as far as timing, whenever you want. It's more important to take the action and be imperfect than be perfect and not take
So
the
true.
action.
So true. Instead of trying to polish it up so everything's just right, just get it out.
Just like the follow-up calls we were talking about. If you call people up and you just say, "Hey Blake, just thinking about you. Is there anything you need?" And I don't. Well, uh, that's going to be way better than never doing it,
That's
right?
right.
Right?
That's right.
At least they know you were thinking about them, right? And they know you're human, authentic.
You know, I had an agent before I was licensed. I had an agent that called me every year, usually about the week before Christmas, and I never took his call, but he left a voicemail just saying, "Hey, I just wanted to say hello. Hope you and your family have a great holiday season," something like that. It was really just a nice thing. But he kept on doing that, and I think it was about 4 or 5 years into that when I finally called him when I was ready to sell something, and and I told him, I said, it's because you've been so good with your follow up. And it's not like he'd been extraordinary. He had just done exactly what you said, Mike. He just made the effort. He wasn't doing a whole lot of other stuff, but he made that call every year. So at least I always had him in my mind.
Stayed top of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal. All right, let's do this. Is there anything else anybody would like to chat about before we break? All right. Well, good job being here for the production call. We're going to go ahead and wrap that up. We're going to move into our huddle for the day. So number one thing you did yesterday to move your business forward. Number one thing you're going to do today. Who would like to start?
I had a question actually, if I can ask it maybe off camera, Mike, or
Yeah,
off the
that's
recording.
you betcha. So we'll want to stick around after the call then.
Okay, cool. But I wanted to ask it to everyone if everyone had a second. But I guess I'll go quickly for the huddle. Yesterday I had one showing, and today I have one showing again. My kids are homesick yesterday and today, so no door knocking, but hopefully Wednesday back out there.
Good, good. So let me just throw a quick idea out there, Tristan. For those days that you can't get out on the doors, how could you keep your business moving forward and meeting new people?
Well, what I can do to move forward is I have some follow-ups that I need to make. So I can make those follow-up calls today for sure, especially when they go for nap.
Good. So that's the question you want to keep asking yourself every day is, what am I doing to move the business forward? Right? So number one, I know in your mind, you're very competitive. You not like those door knocks. You can't do the door knocks today. So the question just says, okay, if I can't door knock, what is the thing that I can do today to move the business forward? And you just gave a great answer. I will follow up with those people that I found door knocking, these leads, and reach out to them. Or you could also reach out to your sphere, right? So you got this group of people you could reach out to. You decide how: phone, text, email, whatever you need to do from your home, since you have to be with the kids today. So how can you reach out to these people? So, and stay in touch with them and build business. Set an appointment. See if you can set an appointment. All right, cool. Good job. Who's next?
Okay, I'll go. Yesterday, I did a lot of back end work, and you would say, well, how is that dollar productive? Well, so I can get paid because we're on a new system called SkySlope, and it was just daunting to me, but finally got some of my leases all squared away, got my CDAs back, so I can get paid. Yay. And then today, also what I've been working on is Christmas cards. And that is one of the best things that you can do this time of year, whether you did handwritten notes in Thanksgiving, or you want to do Christmas cards or Hanukkah cards or New Year's cards, because New Year's cards can be done before New Year's or after New Year's. And then just a little thing that I was talking to someone about. She said, well, I want to reconnect with people, especially let them know I'm in real estate, but I don't want to be like, seem like this is all about real estate. And I said, well, in the past, people would do like a letter, just a recap of their year, and they put it in with the card. And it was like, my son was doing this and going to school and got this award, and we went on this vacation, and why don't you do something like that? And you can just share, hey, or just, share about the year, and then a little something about, I was in real estate, went to this real estate conference in Orlando, or whatever it is about real estate, and just a little subtle reminder that you're in real estate. So anyway, holiday cards, and today at noon, if you guys want to hop on, I'm going to be doing kind of like an open office hour for anyone that is planning to do something in December, like if you wanted to work through the candy cane counting thing, or if you can't make it, that's fine too. But I do have that today at noon. So.
Cool. Angela, where would they go if they want to join your office hours? Do you have like a URL that they could go to?
I don't.
So
So
maybe add a forwarding URL for the future, and that way they could hop in on one of your Zoom calls. Like we have ramszoom.com that they can go to. Do you maybe set up something like that? It's like $10 a year, or maybe 20. I don't know. It depends on where your domain is. But it's pretty inexpensive. And then that way, you, unlike these calls, you could put that out there when you want people to kind of show up to one of your sessions.
good point. Yeah. In fact, I might have I can definitely do that. Good idea. And for our group, I'll just email out the link and a reminder to everybody. But
Perfect.
cool.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that. And thanks for keeping us updated. I understand what you're saying. Sometimes you got to take a step backwards to take a step forward, as far as always driving the business forward. Like yesterday, I was doing a lot of restructuring, took longer than I thought, of my leads list for my calls. They were on all these separate lists, and I wanted to consolidate them. So when I'm making my calls, I can go a lot faster. And it took me a couple hours, but I finally got that done. So that sounds like to me what you did. So that's part of it. what I like to keep everybody focused on is that number one thing, though, that you're going to do, whatever it is, and that may have been it, but whatever the number one thing is you're going to do today to move the business forward. If we put that in our mind, and when I say move the business forward, it usually means where are we going to get a new client? Just be really clear, right? That should be the thing you're trying to figure out every day. Doesn't always happen. But if you keep putting that in your mind, next thing you know, you're getting a client every day. Or at least you're getting a lead for a client every day. Does that make sense? You're programming your mind. So that's my goal with these sessions. But good job, Angela, and I really appreciate you offering the opportunity for people to come and get focused on a project and do some work with you. They'd be very lucky to have that happen because you're really good at this stuff, especially the events. All right, Blake.
Yeah, so yesterday, I would say my number one thing yesterday was my visit. I drove to Northwest Atlanta for a lunch meeting, and it's a networking meeting. It's called the Atlanta Agent Collaborative, and there's only, I think, two or three realtors actually there, and that it's intentional that way. There were other industries represented. We had financial planner, home inspector, lender, home warranty people, all the industry related folks. So, and this is something I've been to several times and I intend to go. It's held once a month. But anyway, so that was yesterday. And I didn't have any specific thing that came out of that, but I got some cards and made some contacts, had some really good conversations. Today, number one thing is going to be preparing marketing reports for my two listings, my two active listings. It's time to prepare those reports and get those in front of my clients.
Very good. Are you doing that every Tuesday? Doing your seller follow-ups, your seller reports?
Yeah, I'm either getting it done on Tuesday. I'm trying to at least prepare it on Tuesday, and I've told them by Wednesday each week it'll be there. So it'll be there by Wednesday morning regardless. Because sometimes it's Tuesday night before I finish that up.
Good. As long as you have an understanding with your clients of when that's going to come out,
Yeah.
will really help them and you so that they're not bugging you about what's going on with the sale of the property. You're like, yep, we're going to have our report. It's going to come out Tuesday, no later than Wednesday. If you don't get it by Wednesday, you give me a call. And then you make sure they're keeping you accountable and you're getting that out to them and keeping them in the loop. And it's so valuable for price reductions and repositioning. They need to know what's happening.
Agreed. And another thing that I think is probably possibly as important as anything is that's how I'm going to build a client who's going to send me referrals. It's not because I sold their property. Maybe it is, but it's probably going to be, hey, Blake, he kept me on top of it. He knew what was going on and he explained it to me all the way through the process. I think that's a great value is they're going to have that thing to be able to, that story to be able to share with others when they refer me.
So true. And let's talk about the power of that as our market changes. Let's just walk through a potential scenario. You are following up with your sellers on a weekly basis. You're giving them update and reports. The market slows down and it's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months to sell a property now. Let's say it took 4 months. You just have one that was 90 days a while back. Let's say it's 4 months. All right, 4 months, that's 12 weeks. That's 12 reports that you've given them once a week. That's a lot of contact. That's a lot of putting it in their brain that Blake does what he says he's going to do. He follows up. Let's say after the 12 weeks, you get the property sold. They bump into their friend Sally, and Sally says, yeah, did you sell your property? Oh, I've been trying to sell my property for 6 months, and my moron agent never calls me. I never know what the hell is going on. I'm firing their ass. Do you know anybody else that I could get to help me with this thing? Oh, well, Blake, he kept me updated the entire time. I don't understand why your agent wasn't calling you. Blake was talking to me once a week and letting me know exactly what was happening. In fact, I still have one of his reports. Check it out on my phone, right? Um, I think that you're right, and it's going to become a real advantage for you, an identifier for what your service is for your people to tell others how you're different, right? It's going to
Very
become
good point.
important again.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
going to become
differentiator.
important again.
Yeah.
And when the markets were selling in a day, you didn't matter so much. But now that properties are taking much longer to sell, it's going to become very valuable. Yeah. Good job, Blake. All right. What did I do? Let's see. I told you made calls yesterday. I made 17 dials out to my group. Have one conversation. Didn't go anywhere, but it's a numbers game. You just got to keep rolling through those numbers. I got my call back. I'll be working today on that callback from my lead that needs to get basically a CMA or a presentation put together for them. Yeah, and then I'll make more dials today. I was trying to think if there was something else. So I don't know if you're noticing, I'm trying to get back in the habit of making dials each and every day out to this group. You should try to think of that. What can I do every day as a habit to reach out for new business? So I'm making calls to this pond. You could write, Blake, you were doing this for a while. You could write one card, just one card a day to your PCSOI. That could be the thing that you do every single day. How hard is that? We're talking 5 minutes. You just make it a habit. You're just going to do it every single day. You're going to just make one card, just one card, 5 a week, 20 a month, out to your PCSOI. Especially if you start with your top people, it's going to be super powerful, right? What is the one thing that you can do every single day, like habit? It's going to lead to business. Got to keep filling the business pipeline at the top. Okay. Otherwise, you do the business that you currently have, and then get to the end and you close it, and there's no more business. Anybody ever experienced that?
Yeah.
Real estate roller coaster, right? You're all excited, you got a client, and then you get them done, and then it goes downhill. You got no business till you find the next client. Okay. So that's why you're trying to do a habit. Just one little thing a day. You reach in front of people. I don't have any time. Well, 5 minutes, you could write a card, send a text, just say, hey, I was thinking about you. All right, everybody, thank you everybody for being here today. Hope you have a fantastic and productive rest of your week. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to wrap this up, and then we wanted to talk to Tristan for a second. So thank you, everybody, for being here.